Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party. We just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.
What up? What up? Oh, Katrina got that James Ham internet. That's cool.
Oh no, not again.
It's happening again.
I even upgraded. So bad.
What's up, y'all? You know what it is, Chatty House after party. We're missing one. Don't know. We might have to put a space on a milk carton at some point. So we'll see what's happening. Hopefully he joins us soon. I mean, it's still Kings. We still got King stuff to talk about. So obviously it was just announced that Doug Christie was being. I don't think they announced the official signing, right? They were just working on a contract, but obviously unless something like collapsed out of nowhere, which would be very Kings-ish. But with all said, it looks like Doug Christie will be the next head coach of the official head coach of the Sacramento Kings. What do you guys think?
Katrina, you go first.
I'm happy about it. I was hoping this would happen, and in a way, I think about damn time. So I'm good. I think it's a good fit. I think Scott Perry was kind of hinting at it in his press conference. It seems like his vision, his words lined up with what Doug Christie, my internet, come on, man. They line up really well. They use the same terminology. So I think it's good. I'm excited to see what the off season brings. What different moves, the pieces. So I'm good. What about you, David?
I think I'm kind of neither here nor there with it right now because I think I want to see, like Katrina, like you're saying, what happens in the off season. You know what he's like as a coach during the off season. You know what kind of program he's going to instill. I think we all kind of knew it was going to happen. I guess the only I don't know if I would say I didn't like it, but I think I'm kind of like with everyone else. I would like to see him just do things normal for once and go through an exhaustive search. And what I think I texted you guys earlier. I said I hope that Perry wanted Doug and not they didn't tell him to hire Doug because I mean I like Doug too. I think he'll do fine. I think having above 500 record in that last season, I think that was actually pretty impressive. 27 or with that crap that he put up with. I think he deserved a second shot. So, like I said, I just hope that, this wasn't forced on our GM and that he is like, no, I think this is the best fit for our team, and we'll see what happens. So, yeah,
I mean, Perry doesn't strike me as the type of person that would take the job if he was being forced to do something, unless he didn't see any other, he was just done with TV and really wanted just to be a general manager again. I'm sure it was suggested. Right, like I think that's probably what Vivek was like. Hey, I think it's like what guys were saying. Like, hey, if you can find somebody better, fine, but please consider Doug. And him and Doug probably had some conversations, and hopefully they're both aligned on the same how they want to run the team, what players they want, what kind of players they want. Right, because for me that's everything. Like I'm happy, I'm ecstatic that Doug is getting an opportunity. I think he's obviously well liked in the city, on the team, organization, well respected. But at the end of the day, if you gave him the same team next year, I expect failure. Like I don't expect this team to all of a sudden become some juggernaut or be a 6 seed or 5. Like so until I see what this roster looks like on opening night or at least preseason opening night, like I reserve not my opinion of him, but of being excited about overall this team as a whole. So I'm excited for him, but it's tempered, right? It's like, all right, man, that's cool. All right. And I will say there's one thing I agree with Trista is I'm okay with Doug getting the job, but for the love of God, can the Kings do something with normality, like interview people,
Yeah.
fake the funk? Jesus Christ, man, just fake it for me. Pretend like you interviewed some people. Happens at jobs every day. At my job, it happens all the time. They interview people knowing who's going to get the position, but it's legally binding, right? Like, well, we all know that happens at a lot of jobs. Like, people are those front runners, but
Do the fake NFL interviews.
yeah, there you go. Yeah. So I mean, again, but maybe if it was anybody else, like it was somebody else that was interim, like any Joe, and then he got hired, I think there would be a lot more uproar. But I think because it's Doug, right? It's like, all right, man, like it's Doug, cool. Like let's give him. But again, like let him pick his players, whoever he wants gone, let them be gone. Whoever he wants to keep, obviously, he wants to keep. Cool. I just want to see his vision come to fruition and let him work with that, and whatever happens after that.
Well, I want to see what kind of staff that he puts together too, and
Yeah.
they don't have to be all ex 2002 Sacramento Kings. They don't always have to have ties back to the organization. Bring in some good people and let's see what happens. So yeah,
Right.
I think that's
Why
kind of
not? What if he makes that a requirement? Like to be on my staff, you have to be.
You had to have been on that playoff team. You
Yep.
had to.
seriously.
The gang's all back. That'd be hilarious. People probably eat that up too. God, Sacramento eats that stuff up like no other city I know, man.
We've been holding on to that for 22 years, 23 years.
Part of me gets it, but obviously just being an outsider, like I just remember guys getting ran out of Chicago that were like part of the camp. Like, nah, nope, sorry, nope. John Paxson was probably one of the most loved Bulls during the championship years. He is so hated right now. The way he was as a general man, like people just like they forget that he was part of like 3 championship teams. I do. Like it's like whatever, man. Like that's who y'all hired. So be it. Like I'll still remember his game-winning shots, but like it's just funny how that can turn on you in a heartbeat.
Did Paxson though? Did he assemble the Derrick Rose team?
I think he was around for that time.
Uh,
I think he was. If I remember right, I think he was part of it. Reinsdorf had a grip on everything, though he always has. So I don't know how much of a stooge he was and how much he actually made decisions. So it's the White Sox. I mean, it's White Sox, Bulls, same thing. Hey, relax, man. Jesus. Oh, every single time.
I want to. I would love to know too. I'd like to hear what some players have to say about it. I mean, not that again they haven't earned the right to, to just say I want this guy or that guy. They need to. They got their own issues to work out. But I do want to. I'd like to see some players come out and support and say this is their guy too, which I think they will. I think Levine did, right? I think Levine said something earlier. I thought Doug was Domas's guy, so we'll see. But I mean, I don't think it's a bad thing. I think there's just so many what ifs with this team right now.
How long do you think his leash is? I hate to use that term, but like, how long do you think? Like, I'm curious to see how much of that contract is guaranteed, where the outs are. You know what I'm saying? Like that. Like I am really curious about that because that's got to be a sticking point for him. Like,
oh, yeah.
I wouldn't let this dude, especially after you already announced it. If I haven't signed, like, oh yeah, you're gonna give me 3-4 years, bro. Like, what are you gonna do? Tell them that you're not signing me at this point? Like, the team already looks in shambles, so you can't even afford to do that. So even the leaking, that's he has all the leverage right now. So it's like, yeah, I want 3-4 guaranteed. Like, sorry. Because I think you have to give him, like, he's a new coach. Like, he's literally a first-time coach still. So you got to give him some time. Whatever that roster is, even if it's a failure next year, like, I don't think you can fire him. I think you still have to give him at least the 2 years before you, like, unless it's just, like, an abomination, I guess. But, yeah, I don't know.
I mean, he's probably going to be on the bottom tier of what he's getting paid. So, he's going to be a cheap option right now. I mean, I would assume it's some kind of standard deal, your 3 years with a team option or something like that. But
Right.
As far as like, I know you don't like that term. I don't, but how long his leash is, I mean, I would say 1.5 to 2 years.
Yeah.
That's going to be, when some of these other contracts are up, like, your Levines and your DeRozans, and at that time, I think that's when we could either expect a reset or not. But that's another thing too. I know we got a lot of topics, but what do you guys think? I mean, where do you guys stand? Like, after the season played out, we know what happened. Where are you guys like right now with either blow it up, let's start over from scratch, or add to this team?
I mean, I think we already know they're not blowing it up. They pretty much made that clear. So they're obviously, it's add and subtract, right? You're subtracting what you can and adding what you can. But like Michigan says, like, no, you can't unless you're going to find a sucker out there that's willing to give them that, to pay that $50 million. You can't probably realistically move them until next year when it's what do you call a contract?
Milwaukee, can we interest you in Zach LaVine?
So that's my favorite on the internet too. Like Kings fans being like, "Oh, he wants out." Like, what in God's green earth would make you think that Giannis wants to come to Sacramento? Like, I'm not trying to be like a hater, but it's like, come on, bro. Like all this, you think he if he's leaving Milwaukee, it's not for another like cluster F. Like, it's gonna be a contender. He's gonna have a list of 3, 4, 5 teams at max that he's gonna say these are the teams you can move me to. Like, he's not just going to show up anywhere. So
he's going to come out like Fox and say, "I only want to go to Sacramento. Make it happen."
Look, I know the whole Weber thing always clouds people thinking that they can do that every single time. This isn't that. First of all, this isn't the 2000s, so that's not going to happen anymore. The players run the league now, right? He was going to show up no matter what. He might have been miserable, but he was going to show up and play. That's not how it works anymore, especially with Rich Paul running stuff. And it's just that's just not how it is, man. It happened with one guy, one major guy, and that's great and everything, but that's not the norm. So
yeah,
I would love to have him here.
He has family ties in Fresno, so
Golden State it is. Got it.
No, hell no. Not what I said.
People keep saying that. Sorry, no disrespect to Fresno, but his wife escaped Fresno.
There you go. That's
I
right.
don't know if she's wanting to come back.
Again, I just think if there had been stability last year, and let's say they were just one step away, right, then maybe you can make a trade or something and they look good. Like the way everything went down, no, it's not going to
happen. One could wish.
Yeah, so I don't. Yeah, exactly. Like if it happened, obviously I'm gonna be happy. Like it'd be the craziest thing ever. But like people really putting trades together and thinking that it's realistic.
That's the funny thing.
It's not realistic, man. I want it to be. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not. Like, come on, that's not what it is. But sure, man. Sorry, I don't want to ruin your parade. So sure, miracles do happen every once in a while.
Unless we win that draft lottery.
There you go. The first step. Win the lottery.
Oh.
That would be crazy, though. That definitely would be crazy if they somehow won the lottery. Like
anybody's due some karma, it's us.
That's true. The whole town would be bananas. I think there would be so many DUIs that night. This town would just be bananas.
DUIs, babies made.
And then 2 days later, what you're going to see is the Matt Georges, all those guys are going to come on and go back to that Luka draft. And they're going to be like, don't F it up this time. And they're just going to relive that again until the draft.
What'll happen is the Kings will win it and they'll pass on Cooper Flag.
Oh, my God.
You know that's what's going to happen. Like, you know what? We like, and this guy might even be better than Cooper Flag. I don't know. But they'll be like, I love Ace Bailey's second jump.
Yeah. Yeah, people would really lose their minds on that one. That's crazy. What do you think about the assistant coach stuff? Like, obviously, I'm assuming it'll be veteran heavy. I wonder what's his name will come back under the coaching staff.
Barbosa.
Alvin. Barbosa, I think Barbosa has a good chance. I think him and Doug were pretty close.
Yeah.
I wonder if Alvin would. I feel like he had a good relationship with Doug.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious to see who else he might bring in.
Did somebody say something about Turner? Elston Turner, but that dude's got to be about 90 right now. Not that old dudes can coach, but it's
Right.
like, man, he's got to be older than Pete Carrill when he was here.
Oh, Jesus. Pete Carrill, that's an old name. Good old Princeton. I forgot about that. Yeah, I don't know, but I mean, again, like I think it was a good announcement. I mean, it's cool. It's out of the way now. It's just draft, and I guess back to the players, man. Like that's cool and everything. It's a feel good story. It's a local story. That's cool. Happy for Jackie and him, but at the end of the day, man, if you show me the same roster, it's whatever, man. I don't even know if I watch, to be honest. Like there has to be change. It can't be this roster.
Man, I'm really curious to see though what happens with a player like. I mean, everyone's talking about some of the free agents on our team, and with Keon, because I know that he's a free agent. Is he unrestricted or?
No, he's a restricted.
He's a restricted free agent. Okay.
Yeah. But obviously, like what happens is if he doesn't. So I know if they lowball him, like he becomes unrestricted next year.
Mm-hmm.
So I think there's an option to pick up or something. I forgot how it goes, but that's the last person. I don't know, man. It's hard for me to gauge Keon. Like he's on such a spectrum, right? Because he's so valuable defensively. He made some strides offensively this year, but he also had lapses too. And as good as his defense was sometimes, he got blown by a couple times too. So I don't know. I mean, he's again another good feel-good story. They basically, cultivated him, and he blossomed into what he is. And I still think there's a high upside for him. So I think you have to be careful, but I don't know where all their money's allocating to either because there's a lot of top-heavy contracts. So who's a free agent? LaRavia is obviously a restricted free agent.
And Trey Lyles is.
Trey Lyles is a free agent. So I think Trey is probably gone. I think if they can get him at a decent rate, they might bring him back, but I don't know what that number is for them. I think they hope that Jake wants to come back, obviously.
And it sounds like he does. He really liked being here, and he really likes Doug. So
yeah,
hopefully
they can get him back.
He was a good bench player. Like I said, I think people were kind of losing their minds a little bit.
Obviously.
I never.
That's a shocker.
They're, oh man, we're gonna lose him. Somebody's gonna offer him $10 million. Man, hold on. See what happens. But
I like Walter Clayton Jr. He's a good prospect. He had a good year. Let's see what happens. Yeah, but I think the biggest thing we're all looking at is the big three, right? Like Sabonis, DeRozan, and Zach. Where do they, especially with Sabonis and DeRozan, what are their feelings about coming back, not coming back? I'm assuming DeRozan's going to want to get moved. Like they said, probably more behind closed doors than anything. Zach is Zach. He's here. I mean, I don't think he's going anywhere. I don't think anybody if Scott Perry finds someone to unload, they should build a statue of Scott Perry as soon as he can unload him. For real, because that's almost an impossible feat. So if he could do that, I'm going to be like Kevin Garnett. Anything can happen. Anything is possible. That's how I'm going to be screaming. So, we'll see. But I'm assuming Zach and Sabonis are probably the mainstays. And I'm really curious. So this is my Scott Perry moment. It's like, if you do move, wherever it is, what do you bring back in return?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because Monty was very underwhelming anytime he traded anybody.
Oh, I know.
So I like that.
I'm really wondering though.
Once.
I wouldn't be totally surprised. Not that I'd want this to happen or anything like that. But you think since the Kings had such a, tumultuous season, that teams are going to start calling about Malik. Not that he wants to leave or that the Kings want to get rid of him, but I mean, teams are going to be calling the Kings too. We talked about their roster, but there could be some people who are looking to poach, some of our good players too.
Right.
I was just saying, Manny, that I wonder if teams are going to start calling about Malik, and not that we want to trade him, but the Kings had such a crap season that maybe someone's thinking they can pry him away or something like that. I mean, the Kings got to look at everything. I don't want to trade Malik, but I mean, everybody has to be on the table. I think we've all said that before,
and not only that, but nobody's really talked about this much. And maybe because he kind of had a smile on his face and just said the great answers, but there still needs to be a discussion with him about, are you willing to be a permanent six man, or how are you feeling if we decide to go that route? Because we don't know what Doug wants here, right? Like maybe in Doug's eyes, he still sees Malik as being a possible starter, depending on who the starting five is. So, but if it's not, is he going to take that personal? Like, because sometimes players take that as, you blame me for everything that happened, right? I didn't really get a fair shot at that. So just depends on how he receives that. But we don't know right now. Everybody's just said the perfect answers up until this point. Nobody's really asked out or voiced any public concerns with the Kings. So we'll see how all that plays out. So maybe it's Malik that forces their hand. We don't know. We don't know how he's feeling. So I don't think he wants to go anywhere. I think he does love it here. He sees the fan support, fans love. But I know he saw some of the discourse too from fans, because there were a bunch of fans too that were like, "Oh, Malik this, Malik that," when he was struggling at the starting spot. So I don't know, man.
I think you made the point a while ago, Manny, that I'm kind of not rethinking it, but I was thinking about it again that I'd like to see, we're talking about Doug having a full off season. I'd like to see Malik with a full off season of trying to be a point guard.
Me too.
He was thrust in that position because, make no mistake about it, Malik wasn't a point guard. He was a shooting guard coming off the bench. And, I wonder with a full off season, practicing Doug's offense, if Malik can make that transition.
Yeah. I'm here. For me with Trey, I'm either way. If they decide to trade him, I'm not going to cry about it. If they keep him, that's cool. He's such an up and down player to me.
Yeah.
Like he goes through lows of being non-existent to being a vital part of a game. Like it's just hard for me to gauge.
His injuries have really affected his overall throughout the season. Hasn't he been injured like at the beginning of the season, the last two seasons?
Yep.
I think so, yeah.
So, just depends on the cost. Again, I think that's what it comes down to for them is, what are you willing to play for here? Or, do you want out? Like, I'm sure there's plenty of contenders that would love to have a Trey Lyles.
Right.
Like, to be honest, like, I could see him on a bunch of contending teams being a part of it. So, just depends on how he feels. I'm just not going to overpay for him. Like, either way, I'm like, okay, well, just got to fill out another spot, I guess. So, we do have the 2025 G League champions. Well, we can't bring anybody in from there. Those champions.
Those guys in.
Any of those 50-year-old guys that are on that team, they don't want to play in the league?
I'm not watching. What happened to Luka?
I kid. He got hurt.
No, I was kind of.
I think they had hamburgers in the back, so he left early for halftime or something.
Especially if they have beer. Hamburgers and beer.
Laker fans, especially because I'm part of a couple of Laker fans groups off the playback thing, and I watched them for weeks after getting Luka, like cry tears of joy, talking about championships. And I waited because Manny's a prick, right? So that's fine. We've already established that. I waited weeks and weeks before I jumped into it. I was like, y'all not winning shit. That dude he's not going to make you a contender. Like, he's not. Like, I'm sorry. Like, he's a great player. But Dallas put perfect pieces around him. Like, they put defensive backups all over. They didn't get good until that trade deadline where they got Gafford and all those guys. Because before that, I think everybody forgot. They were like a 7th seed at some point or a 6th seed where they were like tumbling down.
Yeah, they were out of the top 6.
Yeah, they were tumbling down and didn't know what to do. And then all of a sudden they made those trades and then they made a run. And it was like, yeah, because you went and got the stuff that hides his deficiencies that he refuses to do. Well, you don't have that with the Lakers. So you're back to being that old Dallas team again. Like, sure, you got LeBron, but he's not LeBron anymore. He can do spurts of stuff, but he can't put the team on his back like he used to. He's just not that dude anymore. So
they'll get you on it.
Nico, I'm with you, Nico. Don't let them talk down to you again, Nico.
The league always does the Lakers favors, though. Bet you Milwaukee calls the Lakers and say, we'll take Austin Reeves and some 2nd-round picks, and you could have Giannis.
I wouldn't be shocked. I would not be shocked. All right, so we all agree, like, we're basically a wait and see now with the Kings, and We'll see what they do. And it's going to be, I don't know if it's an uncomfortable conversation, but obviously there's some race in it and stuff. And there's some conversations to be had, though. Shedeur Sanders, at one point was considered the first pick in the draft and then became one of the top 2 quarterbacks in the draft, falls all the way to 144th from a Thursday to a Saturday. All these quarterbacks go ahead of him. Even the team that drafted him drafted a quarterback ahead of him before they picked him up. Typical Browns. What was your guy like? What did you guys like in real time? Like, I'm sure, unless you're a football person, you're not literally sitting watching the TV for 3 days and looking at the draft, but you keep up with it, right? Like, it became an interesting story. I think even for people that aren't invested necessarily, like wholeheartedly in the NFL, like it became a story to see when is this dude going to get picked. Like I was out and about and I was looking every once in a while just to see like, oh, who's next? Maybe the Steelers. These idiots didn't pick a quarterback, waiting for stupid ass Aaron Rodgers. And that's another story for another day. But what were you guys thinking watching this whole thing unfold, Katrina?
I followed it kind of from afar. I don't follow it that closely, but
Like a Patrick Mahomes. Go ahead. I'm sorry. That's just the bitter me. Sorry.
It was interesting, and I'm still kind of trying to wrap my head around it and understand what exactly happened. So I've been watching videos and podcasts of people's breakdown and understanding of why this happened. And I'm kind of, there's a lot of ways you can look at it. I think there's definitely a fine line between arrogance and confidence. And Dion was definitely that dude, right? He came out with this confidence. A lot of people thought he was arrogant, but he had the talent to back it up.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So I think Shedeur's talent maybe kind of got overshadowed by the fact who his daddy is, right? Like the fact that Dion comes along with him. That's the coach, the only coach he's ever had. So I think a lot of teams have looked at it like, okay, I'm not just getting Shedeur, I'm getting his dad. Like, how is his dad going to
interfere,
overlook? Is he coming for my job? Like, there's a lot of different ways you can look at it. There was a lot of hype with Colorado. Like, I don't watch that much college football. I went to a design school, so unfortunately we didn't really have sports. So I didn't follow college football, and I still really don't. But Colorado was fun. Colorado was fun to follow, to watch some games. But
they were a story.
Yeah, they definitely were. And I think there was just too much hype about him that his true talent wasn't really analyzed, or that's what I see.
Right. What do you think, David?
I don't know. Like, I think kind of people are of two camps, and they're thinking that it's one of two things. Either he slid in the draft because it was non-football reasons, attitude, his dad, what have you, or GMs didn't value his skill set, where, it's kind of, I don't mean to be a fence straddler, but I think it could be somewhere in between. When I've watched him play, I'm kind of in the camp where, if let's say this was in a draft where the consensus was there was 6 or 7 like really good quarterbacks, like in other drafts where all kinds of quarterbacks go in the first round. Mm-hmm. I'm not necessarily sure that Shedeur would be one of those guys. I think, like Michigan State, I think he could play in the league. But when I watched his games, I think somebody the other day asked Kenny, what does he do that's elite? And, Kenny's only answer was his toughness and accuracy, which are good, but, the guy doesn't have a rocket arm. He is accurate. But if you look at even a lot of his highlights, a lot of his balls are underthrown, and his receivers are going back for him. I don't know if that played into it because he doesn't have a strong arm, but I definitely was surprised that he slid as far as he could. So I mean, I think there was an element of who he was, what his dad's doing, and there was non-football reasons on where he slid. Because I mean, I'll be honest, you know, begrudgingly, I'm a Raiders fan. I was shocked that in one of those later picks, those third round, fourth, I think they had a fourth, that they're one of the teams that didn't pick him.
Yeah, me too.
Especially with the history that the Raiders have, I would think even the owner would have jumped at that chance to make that move. So, I mean, I just like I'd love to hear what other people got to say, because I honestly don't know the real reason why he slipped. Is it football? Is it skill set, or was it 100%? They didn't like his attitude. I don't know.
I know for me, like, I get the slide. Like, if you didn't interview well and you had a lot of bad answers and the cockiness, like, cool, you slid. I have a hard problem believing the problem that I start having the thing I have to start having a problem with is how far back he slid. And with it already was considered a weak quarterback draft overall. So he definitely wasn't to me was a top four, at least top four quarterback, right? On top of that, when people start talking about his answers, his attitude, okay, so let's go back and look at some previous quarterbacks. Let's talk about Eli Manning, who refused to be the number one pick and was very cocky. Like, that's as bad as you can be, like, for a kid to show that much arrogance where you're like, I'll go where I want to go. I'm not even, to me, that's like ungrateful that you're even getting drafted. Like, you have to go to a certain place, right? So there's that. Then you talk about the Johnny Manziels of the world, the Baker Mayfields of the world, who all on purpose were running rampant in college. There was all kinds of stories that went around. Jameis Winston, for God's sake, stole something. Like, there's all these stories of quarterbacks, Jameis Winston. I guess I didn't really need to bring it because I'm trying to This is where the race thing kind of comes into play for me, where it's like it's the owner's good old boy plantation attitude of, we're going to use you as an example, like to let you know we're going to humble you. All of us, like, almost, I don't know if it was collusion. I don't. But that's how it felt to me. Like, they all kind of were like, we're not going to draft him up into a certain point. And we're going to make him and his dad feel this to let them know, just because of who your dad is or who your last name is, you don't get to run around and decide all this stuff and do what you want to do. And like all that. Like, can I prove it? No, I don't think any of us can, right? But that's what it felt like to me when you go that far down. Like, all right, man, you didn't go the first day. I mean, it's still a reach to me, but okay. But the second day, the third day, all like 6 other quarterbacks are being drafted, and you're still like, I don't know, man. That just sounds fishy to me. And
I don't think there was that many quarterbacks better than him. But Manny, when you quick question for you, and I mean, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but when you bring up the other quarterbacks, like, your Johnny Manziels, your Jameis Winstons, and things like that, even your Eli Mannings, on the flip side to that, do you think that was an abject lesson for some teams? That maybe we shouldn't take somebody, because look what happened to these guys. Johnny Manziel came in arrogant and he turned out not to be a good football player. Baker Mayfield, he's just now coming around. Do you think teams said also, well, this guy kind of has a little bit of that in him? This is what happened to those guys.
It's a good point, and it's always possible. Yeah. I don't think so, because I feel like all these 90-year-old owners are coming from the same generation. Coming from the same, upbringing. So I find that hard to believe. But I mean, it's possible, obviously. I don't know. Like, maybe it's just weird to me, man. It was just just watch. And I will say this for him, and all that went down, he responded with grace. Like, whether that's how he really felt or whether it was his dad helped him but first day he was like, God is good, all that. Mm-hmm. When he finally got drafted, he sounded very grateful. It sounded genuine. So I don't know, man. Like, okay, I still go back to, like, I was like, dude was never a problem child. Dude was never like stealing or, got caught doing crazy stuff. Like, so he's arrogant. Okay, like, show me a professional player that on some level isn't arrogant. Like, you don't get to be that good unless there's some arrogance to you.
Right.
And
his last name is Sanders. So,
yes.
Hopefully he gets into the league and gets an opportunity and
Yeah.
can improve and show his talent. And we won't even be talking about this. Like, we won't even remember this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
or in his career, it'll be a little blip on the.
Like Warren said, though, if somebody could leak his phone, they could leak those interviews. Because I want to, because I mean, what did the dude go into the interview doing? Like, did he drop his pants and and put his feet up on the table? And what did the guy do in those interviews for people to be like, no, you're not one of the best quarterbacks in this draft. You're going to wait until the 5th round.
Right.
That there's
That's
no
true.
way. And, we could talk about a skill set. We could talk about anything we want. My eyes told me that he was not a 5th round draft pick.
Yeah.
So I don't know, and I don't know I honestly, like Manny said, I don't think we'll ever know the real answer on why, why he stayed that far. Maybe we're all wrong and it was GMs just didn't think he was going to be that good, or, they made a point to mess with him, and that's just stupid business. So you're going to tell me you're going to, punish a kid when he could help your team? Look at the Browns and the Saints and the Raiders. Yeah, the Raiders got Geno Smith.
Pittsburgh.
But I was like, man, but we're really going to go with Aiden O'Connell? You're going to tell me Aiden O'Connell was better than Shedeur?
Right.
I don't know. Honestly, don't.
And the other thing too, let me say something about his college career and watching a lot of those games. And I'm not a Colorado fan by any stretch, but like anybody else, it was a story. So I watched a lot of Colorado games. Dude had no offensive line, no running back. He literally only had his brother and Hunter, and that was it. And he ran for his life like nobody other. He ran for his life. He looked like Justin Field on the Bears. He was running for his life, man. So a lot of those numbers he put up were under distress. And that, to me, that shows, again, like you said, maybe his arm isn't the strongest. Maybe he underthrew a lot of passes. Absolutely. But a lot of those things that I saw, he was the reason. He was part of the reason why they were still in games when they were winning. Like, he made a lot of instinctive throws and a lot of instinctive moves that you can't teach. Those are just instincts. That's things that either you do or you don't do. You can't teach. You can't teach how to roll out of the pocket like that. You can't teach to know somebody's coming barreling down and to like do a spin move to get out of it. So skills, I think a lot of the skill set is there, and that's like I said, that's why it's baffling to me. Like, and until somebody can prove otherwise, it's going to be an argument, right? There's going to be people that just say, people like myself are just always throw around race, and I do joke around about it sometimes, but I'm dead serious when I say that's what I believe it is. And can't nobody convince me otherwise unless someone can produce a tape of people talking, or like I said, the interviews. I got to see these interviews that they were that bad. Out of all these players that came out the first round with talent that came out the last 30 years, I've never seen somebody drop like that.
Mandy, do you think it's like when you say it's race? Do you think it's race in that he was confident, he wasn't going to be told what to do, he knew who he was as a young man, or because it can't be just because of the skin color, because the number one draft pick was a black man.
Yeah,
so
do
you think it was because they just didn't like his demeanor, which I think it's it was the stereotype of who the league wanted him to be.
The comfortable part. Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, is it because the league wants him to act a certain way? I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he's obviously. I'm not saying Cam Ward is like the all shucks guy, right? I don't think he is, but I'm pretty sure he went into interviews and said all the right things. And I do think that anytime there's a person of color that is very arrogant, and I'm not gonna say street because he didn't grow up on the street. Obviously, his dad was very wealthy, but he has that swag that the swag that's there. I think that is offsetting to a lot of white owners uh, and people in that position that have been around for 60, 70, 80 years. And I think there is a threat. There's a threatening theme to that for them, and they see it as trouble. And I also think it's not just him. It's also like you kind of mentioned before. It's his dad coming in. It's a package deal. It's like the Ball. It's like the Ball brothers and their dad when it first. Remember when that first came out, and that was everybody's worry is that his dad was going to interfere with teams, and say a lot of things. At the end of the day, he really didn't. He was vocal about certain things, but he pretty much was hands off. And his kids ran their own careers, and he did a damn good job of raising those kids. By the way, when people were talking about how horrible of a dad he was, or how horrible Serena and Venus's dad were, right? Like, there's always, whenever there's a strong black man that is very vocal, a lot of times it's looked as a threat. This is just how they see or they view it from the outside. So I do think that did play a part of it. Is if the Raiders drafted him, I'm just giving an example. If the Raiders drafted him, and let's say he sat that first year to learn behind someone, and Deion becomes very vocal about why is my son, like that kind of interference, like I think there was some worry about things like that. Mm-hmm. But again, to me, that's something that you drop somebody from the first round to the middle of the second round at most. But when Gabriel's getting drafted before you, some other 50-year-old quarterback got drafted before you, and there's no way you can convince me any of those guys, maybe I'll be wrong in 10, 15 years, I don't know. But you can't convince me right now that any of those guys had more talent or upside than him. So
I wonder, and I think, Katrina, you were kind of alluding to this earlier, I wonder if he's going to get that shot, though. Because, he's right now, he's probably listed as the fourth or fifth quarterback on that depth chart, even though Deshaun Watson's not going to play. We know he's not going to play. But, they're talking about, even right now, they're talking about how they love Dylan Gabriel.
See, let me say this real quick because I do want to address this. Yeah. And Ramsey, this isn't anything against you. I've heard other people say this. I don't buy into this whole thing, hey, because 5 black guys got drafted in the first 5 picks, that means that you can't be racist. Like, it's still talent. If they're the most talented and they don't see any issues, they're going to draft. It's not like Jerry Jones is. We all know what Jerry Jones is, but it's not like he's only drafted white guys. Like, he's going to draft what's good for his team, and behind the scenes expect certain things from people or have certain views of people without it becoming leaked. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still be an owner and be racist as hell and draft a black man at number 1 and still be racist. The whole, hey, I have a black friend doesn't mean you can't be racist. Like, that's not like, so I don't buy just because a black man got drafted number 1, that means that had anything to do with Shedeur. Like, I just don't buy that, So Cam Ward also didn't come in with some of the baggage and again, like, I get the baggage, but to fall that far down, I just think there had to have been more to it. But yeah, like, unless we see I need to see those interviews. Forget, what's the show on HBO?
Oh, Hard Knocks.
F Hard Knocks. I need to see the Sanders life. That's what I need to see. That's the only thing I want to see is those interviews. That's the only thing I need to see.
I think a lot. I think the coaches and GMs who are in place right now, I think that had a lot to do with why he slid with regards to his dad. I just get a feeling like this young man was made an example of because they were afraid to lose their jobs. Because make no mistake about it, even though Deion returned to Colorado for this next year, I mean, I do think he's gonna go for an NFL job at a certain point.
Absolutely.
And wherever his son goes, that's gonna be, where he's gonna be talked about. Because let's face it, his son wasn't gonna go to a good team. And I'm talking about pre-draft. Everybody knew he was going to go to a sorry team because he was going to be one of the top picks.
Well, he did. So
yeah, he ended up doing that anyway. But I think whoever's in place was probably like, man, dude, am I going to draft? I think that played a part of it. I just think that, unfortunately for him, I think it was all of the above.
Yeah. So I will say this about this lineup right here. So Flacco is signed for next year. Gabriel, obviously. Pickett's option got declined. So he is either a free agent now, or he's a free or they decline his option maybe for the following year. So one of the two, he's gone pretty much. So I don't think Pickett's going to be a factor into. I think it will be Flacco starting unless Gabriel or Sanders is like wows them. And I think that's good for him too. Like just nothing wrong with playing behind a veteran and learning something. That can only benefit him in the long run. So I don't think he needs to start to prove anything. But we'll see what happens. It'll be an interesting quarterback battle the way Cleveland handles it. And like you said about Deshaun, I'm pretty sure at this point Deshaun, they're hoping he never comes back. He's pretty much toast. He's got a free paycheck. So, but like I said, Pickett's extent. I know his. I can't remember if it was this. I know his. His thing got declined. So, I don't know if he's still on the team or if it's just a 1-year contract basically, and then he's a free agent. So, what up, Dave?
What up?
I don't know. Like I said, it's interesting, man. I don't know.
Yeah, man. Like I said earlier, I don't think we're ever going to fully know until some of that stuff starts to leak. And, I mean, I've seen somebody make this point too, and I don't know if this would have helped, but I want to hear what you guys have to say. Do you think him not having a traditional agent hurt him? Because his agent could have came out, like let's say he had, I don't know, who's the big agent in the NFL. If he hired one of the number one guys who could, hey, my guy's not getting drafted because this, and this, and I don't think he didn't have an agent, right?
No, I don't think he did. I think he was representing himself, if I remember right.
I don't know. I just wonder if he had somebody to advocate for him or something like that. Not that his dad wasn't doing that, but, his dad's not an agent. His dad's not going to be negotiating, his deals probably.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's like I said, we're going to find out pretty soon, though. But again, I hope he gets that opportunity. I hope they're not going to bury him down there so that if he does turn out to be a good quarterback, they're not like, oh, man, well, we made a mistake here.
Yeah, at the end of the day, he's still a young man. I know some people are going to sit there and cry the money part where they're like, well, he's already rich. He's got money. Like, yeah, but his dream is to play. And regardless of whether you're poor or you're rich, you should be able to live out your dream. And if he's not meant to be an NFL quarterback and he gets the opportunity, cool. Y'all were right. Pat your own self on the back, I guess, and call it a day. But like you said, I hope he at least gets the opportunity to prove and get some time. And I'm rooting for the kid. I'm rooting for the kid now. So, and maybe all this did humble him somewhat, and maybe that's a good thing, and maybe that helps drive him to be great. If that wasn't there already, so I'm excited for the kid. I hope he, like you said, I hope he gets a good chance. And speaking of kids, we saw last night.
Oh man,
Tyrese Halliburton, his dad and Gianna's getting into it. So we're all parents here. So Dave, you have kids that play sports, that travel, and you probably deal with it more than I would assume, probably more than myself and Katrina. My daughter's in more of the theater stuff, and I did coach a little bit of T-ball, and I will say even for T-ball, that was quite an experience to watch how some of these parents are.
They're worse sometimes.
I saw a lady yelling at her daughter for not running home in T-ball. Literally, a game that has no outs.
No score.
Nobody takes score. And you're yelling at your kid. So, but we saw what his dad got into the confrontation on the court with Giannis, and I don't know if you guys saw the TNT reaction afterwards. And
yeah,
God bless Shaq. Sometimes he just sounds like an idiot. And I don't know if he does that purposely or if he really believes it. But man, don't bring that to Sac State, bro. Just come and sign a couple guys before you leave. So, because that's what it is. A side note: he's here as long as his son's here. When his son leaves, you'll probably never see him again.
Oh yeah, he'll bounce.
Kind of like he did with the Kings. So let's not act like dude's here for the long run, because he's not. But for the interim, that's cool. Glad maybe he'll help recruit a couple players. But anyway, so Katrina, I'm gonna start with you first. Like, what did you make of all that? What did you think?
That's
both
crazy.
As a fan and as a parent, because I like to see it's two different things really or it could be the same, I guess. But I like to see both viewpoints.
That's just not cool. Like his dad overstepped completely. Like the game wasn't even over, right? And he was taunting him and talking shit before the game was even over. And Giannis was like taking it in, like, you
Yeah,
know,
he was on.
that's the end of his season, potentially the end of his time in Milwaukee. Like, come on, man. Like Tyrese, get your dad. Get your dad. Yeah, not cool. I think Tyrese handled it well from what I heard. Don't really
Said all
like,
the right things.
yeah, I don't really like giving him props ever, but just why. But he handled it really well. He needs to have a conversation with his dad. But from what I've heard, his dad's good people, but he should know better, you know? So,
Yep.
What about you, Dad?
So to answer your question, like as a parent, you know, it's hard because, like you say, man, like I help coach my son in high school on his basketball team, and you know, I'll say something to our players, you know, like I'll say something to my son, but not to the other players. You know, I'm not going to cross that line and do that. But and that's me as part of the coaching staff now in his AAU team. I don't say too much to him. I'm in the crowd. There's no way I would go onto the court and talk trash to another player. Now these are grown men, and this is, you know, it's a little bit different because it's in the pros, but you know, I think I'm with Charles Barkley and Kenny Smith. He had no business being on the court like that. You know, I know it's the end of the game and people kind of rush the court, but I think that's something the NBA is going to have to look at, because it looks like anybody can get up from them seats as long as you pay your money and walk onto that court. You know, what if Giannis would have said, you know what, I'm going to Jermaine O'Neal this fool and knock him out? You know, I mean, Giannis might have been suspended for a year or something like that if something like that happens. But again, the court is for the players and for the coaches. It's not for these fans to wander onto the court and talk shit to people. You know, I think his dad should, you know, face some punishment, you know, like him not being able to attend some of the games in the playoffs. Because, I mean, even Tyrese said, too, like you said, Katrina, he said his dad was 100% in the wrong. And I'm in that camp. His dad had no business being out there.
Yeah, like I laughed because when I saw the replay and I saw Giannis, and I was like, in my head, I was trying to play what was going on through his mind. It was like, and to me, it was like, man, do I punch this dude? Do I not punch this dude? Should I punch this dude? Would I enjoy punching this dude? I think I want to punch this dude. Does he look like?
he didn't even know who the hell he was.
Like, is that John Bull's face? Should I punch it? Should I not punch it? I think I'll punch it. And it was funny because it took me back. So when I first started, when I was hooping in the projects, I remember one of the first times that I went to play in Cabrini Green. I had to take a bus, and they had to show up at that bus stop. They're like, dude, if you don't see us at the bus stop, don't get off the bus. Like, cool. So we would walk into the park, and the first thing they said is like, hey, man, they're going to punk it. They don't know you. They're going to punk the shit out of you because you're white. If you don't say nothing to them, you're not going to be able to come back and play. So I remember, like, I was hooping. Some dude, like, I went up for a layup. Some dude, like, took my legs out. And, like, I had to look around my surroundings, and I had that look like him for a second, like, should I punch him? Should I not punch him? So I ended up swinging on dude, and then they separated us. And after that, everybody was good. It was like, all right, man. They used to call me Cornbread. All right, Cornbread, cool, man. He cool. It's all good. But that's how I saw his face. Like, he had that same look I had for like 10 seconds. Like, all right, bro. Do I do this or don't I do this? And then obviously, smart decision. Like, it doesn't do any good to escalate it at that point. He didn't. And but yeah, that's dangerous, man, because imagine that wasn't Giannis and that was Draymond or somebody that's a little bit more unhinged. Like, that could be very, very different, you know. All of a sudden, he's in a Rudy Gobert chokehold. And, yeah, it's just not a good look for the league. It's not a good look for anybody. It's really putting Tyrese in a bind because he's the one at the end of the day that has to answer for all of it.
Right.
And he had a perfect response. And I'm glad he said everything that he said. It was perfectly crafted, to be honest with you. It was like he said all the right things that he should have said as a son. But yeah, like it's one of those things like you're probably not going to see a lot of family on the floor for a little while, and that's going to be the main reason. You know what I'm saying? So
Like
even
they were
though,
saying on the Insiders, like that he'd be banned to a suite.
yeah, yeah, and the thing is, I bet you there are a lot of instances that we don't know because at the end of the game, right? A lot of times the game cuts off. They go
Right.
to the home studio, and I'm sure there's family that comes on the floor, says hi, exchanges pleasantries, and now you kind of like, yeah, we're not going to do that right now, especially in the playoffs, because there's a lot more chippiness during the playoffs, a lot more shit talking and all that. So, yeah, and Dave said it here too, and it's a bad look for arena security because, unfortunately, if it something like this, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody lost their job. So you cost a man that has a job to support his family while you're well off over here, right? And somebody could lose a job because of your actions, because they might be scared to even intervene, right? Because it's a Tyrese's dad. Like, it's one of those things where like it's intimidating to get involved in a situation like that, even though that's your job. I get it. But, so there's a lot of domino effects that can happen in a situation like this. And it's unfortunate. And again, like I said, like Dave, you said it like it's as assistant coach and being in the crowd too. Like I remember telling my girl after that T-ball, I was like, hey man, like she decides she wants to keep playing sports, that's cool. I'm probably gonna start a separate account with bail money because at some point I'm gonna see, and it might not even be my kid, to be honest with you. It might be somebody just doing something stupid to their kid, and I'm just gonna, I know myself. I'm gonna say something because I've done it. Like I've been in the middle of a store where I seen a kid running around, knocking stuff over. I literally stopped the kid. I don't even know whose mom that is. And the mom like looked at me crazy, like, get a hold of your kid, man. Get your kid running around here acting a fool. Come on, man. So like I can only imagine, like if I see a little kid crying because of some stupid parent, I know I'm gonna say something, and that's just gonna escalate. So I was like, yeah. So I'm kind of glad she doesn't. There's a part of me is glad that she does not play sports because of that. But even that, even theater, dance, you see how dance. My daughter watches old YouTube clips of dance moms, which is horrifying. But I'm glad she sees it because I tell her like that's how stupid parents can be. Like that's how stupid they act and how stupid teachers can be. Like I will never, like yes, I'm all about once you start something, you don't quit, but you'll see it through to at least the end of that semester, whatever it is. But I'm never going to chastise you or force you to, like it's up to you to want to practice hard enough to get roles. It's up to you to practice hard enough to want to get a position on a team, right? Like that's on you. If I'm paying money for something, though, best believe you're going to do all these little things, right? But there's a limit too. Like I'm not going to push you where you start. Did you ever see the HBO special Trophy Dads?
Oh, I never saw that.
Go back and watch. It's pretty cringeworthy. But I remember watching that, and it was like to the point like they were like really high end athletes, and by the end of it, they like one guy, he was a phenom for football. He quit because he started hating the sport. He hated it so bad because of his dad. Like he wanted nothing to do with it. So yeah, those ballet models are ruthless. It's like the movie Showgirl, just tripping kids. And
I think as far as basketball goes, man, you're talking about, the paid leagues, man, like the AAUs and things like that. Man, there's almost a culture of it right now, though, man, because like when I go to games, parents, they do that stuff, man. They'll walk onto the court. They'll be saying like all kinds of different crap. I remember my son this year that we were up at a basketball tournament up north, and this dude's just going after. His team was up by like 50 points, and this dude's still just jawing at the other team. We're like, man, what is this guy's problem?
You jawing at the refs or at the other team?
All of the above. Just acting like an ass. And it's like I said, I'll yell at my son and I'll yell at our team, but I'm not going to say something to another team, but
right.
You see that stuff all the time now. So I don't know, not that had anything to do with, with why Tyrese's dad did it,
right. But it comes from the same place almost to me.
Yeah, I mean,
it's that same mind frame. And like you said, it's one thing to yell out at your son's team, like, get back on defense or come on. Like that's different. That's encouragement. That's, you're into the game. That's cool. But like chastising or getting it, like we've seen video. I mean, I'm sure you do that too. Like I've seen videos like parent came on the court and punched her. Dude, like, bro, who does that? Like, these pros don't even get paid enough where that's even worth it for them half the time. I've heard, I think I don't know if it was Scooter. I forgot who it was that was talking about that they
Russ.
rep. Huh?
Wasn't it
Russ?
Russ?
It might have been
Yeah.
Russ then. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, bro, it's not. It's parents,
Mhm.
man.
Yeah, no, I'm cool. I'm cool. I hope my daughter plays sports. So I will not be coaching. I will be teaching art class, and I'll be the party parent. That's where it's at. Mm-hmm.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Like I always did want her to play basketball so I could coach basketball, but it's
Yeah.
but the cringe in the thing that kept replaying in my head being cringe was like having to deal with parents. And
Yeah.
everybody thinks their kid should be the superstar, and everybody thinks that their kid should be starting or getting minutes or whatever. And it's like, yeah, maybe sometimes there's some truth to where coaches have what do you call it, favoritism, but that's every team, every league. There's always that whole every player gets treated the same. No, that's not true. Never has been. Not since I played. Not since anybody's played. If you were obviously a 5-star, yeah, like if you were a 5-star athlete, of course you got better treatment. Of course you could get away with playing defense on one play, or like, of course, basically holding the team together. Like, yeah, okay. I gotta say, I took the ACTs for my center, so I can say that now. It's already past. What do you call that? What's it called? Can't get in trouble.
Statute of limitations.
Yeah, statute of limitations is way over, man. I got him into college, so right.
Mm-mm.
But yeah, like I said, it's unfortunate. Luckily, nothing like horrific came out of it. I don't think he needs to be banned for life or anything like that. Obviously, I think they came down on a couple fines, right? Like I think there was some. Did they announce anything yet? I thought I saw
Well,
maybe
I
possibly.
didn't see.
But did
Oh
you
no, the fine was for the Falcons' dad. My bad, Ralph.
Oh, we got we
That's
didn't talk
another
about that.
dad moment.
Yeah. But things were heated after the game. Did you see that? Giannis and
Oh, yeah.
Benedict Mathurin, how he like held his head, like they had to break that up.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to say, on the flip side to that, Giannis was acting kind of crazy after that, or before or after, whatever. I was like, he grabbed that man's head like he was going to start, like he was going to throw it like a fastball or something. He had that whole hand on his head like that. And I was
But
like,
he was going to dunk him.
man, if I was Benedict Mathurin, not that I would have did nothing, because but I was like, man, I might have swung on Giannis if he had my head in his hand like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like not
I can't
okay
go out
for
like
Giannis to do that, but at the same time, Tyrese's dad was just in his ear, so he's all, who knows what he was thinking.
Yeah, he's had a rough year, man, and dealing with everything from Dame and the way the season's gone for him. And I will say this: I'm a little disappointed in, and this is the old school in me, and I admit it. Okay, so yeah, Giannis, for a long time the Bucks were up and down, and then they finally won a championship, right? And then they've been up and down since. And in reality, Milwaukee is it's a small town team, right? It really is. It's not Chicago, LA, New York, or any of that. And it's kind of disappointing to me that every time a team isn't good for a couple of years, even after they just won a championship, like what was it, 2-3 years ago, that all of a sudden it's like NIL, like, all right, let's just go to another team.
Right.
Like I'm not gonna villainize him or anything. It's not like that at all. But there's just a part of me that's we've come down to that in the NBA now, where it's we're just switching teams like it's nothing, man. Like, all right, well, we were good for 2 years. I won a championship. Let me move on to the next one now that they're not like. So you don't want to stick around and like, even if you don't win again, like, but bro, you won. Like, it's not like it's the Garnett situation where like he held on way too long in Minnesota, but he gave Minnesota everything he had till it got to the point where they told him you need to go. Like literally, the organization was like, please go so you can go win somewhere. And like that's when he finally went to Boston and won one. Like he was the definition of I don't want to leave. I want to bring the championship here. And like that's so rare nowadays. And again, I get it, man. The money's flowing, all that good stuff. But like they've been talking about Giannis leaving since the year after they won the championship, basically, I feel like. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, all right, man. Like, and that's why another reason why I'm like, yeah, he's coming to another small town team. Okay. All right.
Who
No,
said no? Come on.
he says no
Come on.
with a passion.
Look at this.
So
I'm kidding.
Yes.
Isn't that crazy?
Hold
That
that
is so
man's hand like
crazy.
that.
that is hilarious.
Like it's an apple.
Look, bro, I don't care if you're Anthony Mason. If you grab my head like that, I know that I'm going to be dead, but I'm not going out like that. I'm going to swing on you, and then I'm going to brace myself for my death. But I'm going to swing. So when the story comes out, they're going to say Manny swung on Anthony Mason before he died.
You can at least try.
It's not going to be Manny shit. He crapped in his pants and then passed away. I cannot have that. Cannot have that.
Stephen, that's exactly what the scene was right there. That's exactly what it.
Someone needs to take that video and put the Godfather music behind it. Zabo, where you at?
Yeah, which brings me to my other point.
Okay.
Tyrese. I know Katrina didn't want to. That dude, man, I don't think he's the most overrated player or anything like that, but that dude, he gets on my nerves because he don't talk unless they're up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's a front runner. I guarantee you against the Cavs, that dude's going to be quiet. I bet you he ain't going to be talking crazy because I think the Cavs are going to, do what they got to do. I think they're going to beat Indiana, not easily, but I mean, I think it wouldn't surprise me if it was a, 4-1.
He has to play all world for them to be able to beat Cleveland.
But I don't think he's going to be. I don't think he's going to be John like he was at Dame, or I don't think he's going to be doing that kind of stuff against them. It's just like when he was it last year when he was going out at the Knicks after they beat him. Like he didn't say nothing during the series, but he said something after. So I don't know, man. He's not my cup of tea.
And then when he does talk, what voice is he talking in?
Yeah, which one?
His deep voice. Bitch voice.
He's like Kenny Caraway. Which voice are you gonna get? I don't know.
Or his high pitched cracking voice. That's so funny.
Like Ramsey said, like he's Smokey from Friday.
I become. That's hilarious. And then the other part, like they were talking today about him and Jamal Murray, and it's like nowhere in at least for me, right? For me, he's not better than Jamal Murray. Like he disappears just as much as Jamal disappears. At least Jamal in the playoffs, though, you're gonna get playoff Jamal. Like Tyrese has yet to show that you're gonna get playoff Tyrese yet. He's had some great regular season games, but I've yet to see him put a whole year together of those remarkable numbers. He does enough where his average, like at the end of the year, looks great. But then if you sat there and watched each game, like you could see where he had like 29 and 15 for like 3 games, and then all of a sudden he had 10 points and 4 assists, and like it goes from one end of the spectrum to the other. Like,
don't take either of them on Prize Picks. Nope. Neither of them.
Except in the playoffs. I'll take Jamal in the playoffs though.
Yeah.
He's part of the reason why they got the Clippers on the ropes. Like as much as it's Joker, right? Like because it always runs through Joker. But I was like, man, if Jamal, like you're gonna get what you're gonna get from Joker every single night, regardless, most of the time. If Jamal and Porter and Gordon play at any kind of high level, that's a dangerous team in the West. I don't care what anybody says because of Joker.
I said it on the stream. Don't be surprised if they're the ones who come out of the West.
I wouldn't. I really wouldn't be.
I think their demise was greatly exaggerated.
Me too.
A lot of people were talking about, oh, they're done. They don't look like they're the team. Nope. I was like, man, them dudes are dangerous.
They're dangerous and they're built for the playoffs.
Aaron Gordon and that buzzer beater. That was crazy. That was crazy.
And they've been there. That's the thing is they're steady. Show me a time that you ever watch them play, especially in the playoffs, where you ever feel like they look like they're out of control or that they're – I'm not talking about Westbrook moments. Like we know that can be erratic. Mm-hmm. But in general, like you never see them, whether they're up or down, ever look like – it's just steady. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just a steady motion that you get out of them. And it all funnels through Joker. And all of them, they've been there for so long. They know what each other can do.
The Clippers did blow them out by 30-something. The Clippers did blow them out by 30-something. So
I think they're dangerous. It's like, until I see them get bounced out of the playoffs, to me, they're a dangerous team. They're a very dangerous team. So I would not be surprised. and they might be at the end of like whatever it is that they are, right? Because I think a bunch of them. I think what did Ramsey say? He said, "Yeah,
Oh, yeah. His brother passed away.
And I think there's a couple contracts on that team too that are about to be up. So there's a bunch of guys that need to be re-signed, and we've seen them over the last couple of years. They've kind of let guys leave so that they can keep the core. So we'll see, but they got as much chance as anybody else to come out of that West, especially with the inexperience of some of the other teams like OKC. Like I like OKC a lot, but sometimes, man, that inexperience will bite you in the butt.
Yeah, and Denver's one of those teams too that can, hit OKC where they might be weak. It's like, man, Joker might foul Chet and Hartenstein out, by the third quarter.
Yeah. I mean, Chet's a good player and he can extend the floor, but he just can't. There's no way he can't guard Joker. It's like a 120-pound difference, man. Like, shoot. And I like Hartenstein too, but he's just not on that level. So maybe the 1-2 punch does something, but they just got a lot of weapons on that team when they're out. And Westbrook was a perfect fit for that team.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he was a perfect fit for that team. He has done really well over there, and I've always been a fan of him. So I'm glad that I've always hated. I thought he deserved some of his criticism, but a lot of times I thought it was just stupid.
I liked him with the Clippers a lot because
I thought he was perfect there too.
He had it rough with the Lakers, so when he came over with the Clippers, I really liked that. But
yeah, I was surprised they didn't keep him around. He excelled over there. I was surprised they didn't re-sign him. So, and he's not even playing for that much. I think he's getting like one of those $5 or $10 million a year contracts.
It's not getting paid a lot of money.
No, he's just playing for the love. And God bless him, man. He's still. I always say like he's one of the few people don't talk about his knee injuries enough. Well, I've never seen a guy have like 2-3 knee injuries like that and still play it with the athleticism that he plays with. He still jumps out the gym. He still moves down that court fast as hell. Like it's crazy. It's crazy.
He's still a decent defender, and now when they have that lineup too with him and Brown like man, Brown he was D'ing up Harden. I was like, man, he's been playing some good defense.
Yeah, they've been on all cylinders.
He's been playing well, so we'll see. But
yeah.
Put your head under there. Did you watch the Knicks in Detroit?
Yeah, I already let my feelings about Brunson known. I'm a Brunson hater. I can't stand that dude.
He's
hard,
dude.
I don't ever want to hear anybody talking about Joker flopping, about SGA foul grifting, or anybody if you're not going to look at Brunson because he's always jerking his head back and then he has that stupid look on his face. He always
he's one of the worst.
That dude is like born with like resting bitch face.
Yeah.
He's always like this. Swear I can't stand that dude.
Yeah, he's gotten worse and worse too. The more he's gotten away with it, the more he does it. It's so exaggerated. It's like, bro, stop. You're too good to do that.
I'm not saying he's not good. Like, bro, why?
Yeah. Yeah, he's a
exactly.
Cade. I love watching Cade come into his own though.
Yep.
No, Cade
is coming to his own. That's going to be a good team. That's going to be a good if they can keep a lot of those pieces together. They get Ivy hasn't even played. Like he got hurt and he hasn't.
Yeah, that's right.
So they still got stuff coming after this year. So it'll be interesting to see what they do.
I'm still saying, Scott Perry has those Detroit connections. Make that call.
They should have drafted him. Let me get into that.
Oh yeah.
But he was coming into his own before he got hurt. He was starting to look really good. So it was kind of – I felt bad for him when he did get hurt. But like I said, Cade is the truth.
He's fun.
Is the truth. Yeah, he has a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah.
And he does it so like – it's one of those where like you're watching the game and he's playing well and everything. And you're like, oh, he must have like 14, 15 points. He's got like 26 points, 10 rebounds, 6 assists. I'm like, where the hell did that come from? Like it's just so effortlessness. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just no effort. This just comes naturally for him.
He's always one of my picks on Prize Picks, like almost always. And he still makes me nervous. Like first, second quarter, I'm like, come on, Cade. But then all of a sudden you like blink and he has like 30 points. Like, all right.
Yeah. That's the thing is like he doesn't ever really have like, for the most part, like 20-point quarters. It's just if you go back, it's like 10 points in the first, or like 8 points, 8 points, 8 points, 8 points. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just steady. It's steady throughout the game. He just goes through his motions. And there's nothing you can do.
Zebra. Exactly. That's what I'm saying right there.
Brunson's become the worst at that. And it's unfortunate because he's such a good player and he doesn't need to. But I'll say this too about him is I sat there and really watched a couple of the Knicks games because I had a friend of mine. He's like, I know he's good, but watch how much he stagnates that offense. So I'm like, all right, man. So like for 3 or 4 games I watched, and I'm like, he becomes a black hole a lot where like he's got all these guys that are more than capable of scoring. Cat, Bridges, all of them, even Hart at times. And they just kind of stand around and wait to see what he does. Yeah, he hits them, but I think people forget sometimes when you do that, and then later on you start like people are cold. They're out of the flow. Like the people are going to start missing shots because you're not really running the offense, and because you're the point guard, they have no choice but to follow in your lead. So if you decide not to pass it to anybody, there's nothing they can do about it. I feel like sometimes he does that a lot. Like he feels the need to play hero ball more than he really needs to, instead of trusting his players. So, and I heard that in Dallas too. Like I heard that was part of the problem in Dallas too, is that, he thought he was better than what he was, and obviously he actually is, but I don't know. So I did kind of notice that. And I was wondering how much that's been hurting them. They should. I know Detroit's good, but I look at over at New York and I'm like, dude, you should be dominating this series with the people that you have on this team. Like, I know people think Cat's goofy, and that's fine, whatever, but he still puts up numbers. Like, he still dominates on a lot of facets of the game. I don't know. Just feel like they should be better than they should have been playing better than they have. And Detroit's been giving them a hell of a series. They better not lose that series.
They better get this next one because Detroit ties that series up.
Mm-hmm.
But also, I do like that they've been letting – somebody brought this up on – can't remember where it was, but the refs seem to have been letting these guys play this playoffs. Like, there's been a lot of physicality that they've been letting go by. And I like that.
Yeah.
I like it. It brings it back to the old days, and I like that they've done that. Let these guys play. Other than that one corner shot. But other than that, I think like they did a good job of just letting the guys play and let them decide the outcome of the game. So that's been cool. Oh man, we don't have much else. Like we went through a lot. It's pretty good. I think next week we do need to talk about Casey's movie. It's the number one director of all time take. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I love Ryan. He's great. But like, bro, you got to be around longer than 15, 20 years to be considered the greatest. I don't know, Kenny. I think you're just looking for a reaction, bro.
I think so. He knew what was going to happen.
You knew what you're doing, man.
You could tell by the voice he was using when he was talking about it.
And I love it when D'Lo like point out all the Spielberg's movies, and then he's still like, yeah, but no. Like, bro, he just gave you all the evidence. No. It sounds like Shaq. At that point, it's the Shaq mentality where it's like, no, I'm right. No, Charles. No. I can't do a Shaq impression. Sorry, guys. I'm not Casey. So I leave that up to the professionals. I don't do impressions. So are the Lakers losing? I hope so. I didn't even look at the score list.
It's tied.
Tied.
Just lose. Lose already, man.
I know. End it.
Just end the series. Don't let them stay in it because then I got to hear about it on Twitter for the next 3 days.
God.
I'm sick of it. No
So
more
have you
Jason
guys,
Jones.
Ramsey's he's always our resident baseball expert and stuff. Have you guys been out to the? Have you guys? I mean, I know you guys have been out to the games. How was it over there? I haven't been to a game. Is it? Is it
fun?
Is it real noticeable though that
It's not a major league park.
Yeah, that it's. Is it like?
Yeah.
Is it like a really different experience?
Yes. Yes, it is.
I mean,
but
I'm not saying bad or good. I'm just saying. I mean, you know where you're at.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't that many changes to the park externally where you're like, oh, it looks like the scoreboard's bigger and all that, but it's still sort of held. I will say though, it's just good to see people out like
Oh yeah.
supporting and like
Yeah.
I get both sides. I get it. Like I get the hardcore A fans and all that too. Um, but if at the end of the day, the end result is at some point down the line that Sacramento gets a team, great. Um, I will say I'm not appreciative of what he did with the prices in the beginning of the year. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
Oh, did
the
those
Bears
come
are like,
down? Have those come down any?
A
oh, bro,
lot.
like
Oh,
literally, if
okay.
you wait till game day, you can get like behind home plate for like $30, $40.
Oh, that's not bad.
Um, other than like maybe like Mother's Day weekend is different because it's the Yankees and it's Mother's Day weekend. Those will
And
probably
of
still
course,
be a
that's
little
when
bit
I want to
expensive.
go.
Well, we're going that Sunday. I bought them for us for the Mother's Day game. But I bet you if on that day you wait, you could
Right.
probably find tickets for like it'll still be a lot cheaper than what they first started out. So I would say that
Yeah.
going into future years, don't bother. If you wait till game day, you'll literally find tickets for like $30, $40 for most games. Um, go to a daytime game if you go though. Take your kids to a
Mm.
12:30 game. Let them out of school for a day. I want to do that. It's nothing better than an afternoon going to watch a game. I will say the beers are ridiculously priced still at $15 a pop. That's ridiculous. So I still, hopefully the A's aren't watching. I will still take my little airplane bottles of liquor into there and I'll just drink them on my own, bro.
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
better
care.
than my $40 purple margarita.
Yeah, no, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, like if you're not going because of the A's, I get it. I 100% support that
Yeah.
feeling. I get it. You have a lot invested emotionally for that. But if you enjoy a baseball game, definitely go now because when August hits, July hits, it's going to be miserable out there
Oh
for
yeah.
sure. During
Even
maybe
June.
maybe night games will be a lot better, right? But
Yeah.
the 12:30 games probably won't be as nice to go to as they are right now. So I went to the whole cup. I went basically to the Cup Series a couple games, and they were great.
That's what I miss
Yeah, it was
most,
cool.
man. I haven't been able to do it yet, but to go to those day baseball games in Oakland. I mean, that was one of my favorite things to do. So, I'm like it's like you're saying, I get both sides to everything, but if magically the A's just committed to Sacramento, I'd be the biggest A's fan.
Right.
I would return. Even though I loved Oakland and loved the Oakland A's, but
And I guarantee you they wouldn't be playing there. Like if they got a team, they
oh
definitely
yeah,
would
they'd
probably
have
go.
to build a stadium.
Well, the plans are currently in place for the Rail Yards Stadium to be able to house a baseball team too, if that ever came down the line with about 25,000. So I'm pretty sure they put that into part of the build for the soccer stadium is to make sure that if it's necessary, it can hold a baseball team too. So I'm pretty sure they've already, there's underlining things to that. So, but for what it is, it's a great family. Even the River Cats games, I always say, were always fun to go to for the family. It's a very kid friendly environment. And at the end of the day, I think, I mean, as an adult with a child, to me, that's the most important thing. So it's just fun, man. So I definitely suggest going out there if you get a chance, checking it out.
And it's really cool that it's right here. Like for those of
Yeah.
us live in Sacramento that would go to either San Francisco or Oakland to games here and there, like
Yeah.
to have it right here,
Yeah.
15 minutes in your home. That's pretty dope.
Yeah, like I said, literally, you could decide half hour before the game. All right, man, I'm just gonna go check out the game and walk up and buy tickets, or go online and buy some tickets. So that's always, again, like obviously, again, I always preface it, but like I grew up in a city with two baseball teams, a football, like everything. So like I can appreciate for the people that live here that only really had in reality one team for the longest, and have to like, if you're a Raiders fan or you're a Niners fan, you have to go outside of Sacramento or. But there is obviously the Republic is here, but other than that, like you've had to travel to go to anything that you really wanted to go see, right? Like, so it's cool to whether temporary or ends up being full time, like take advantage of it while you can and enjoy some family time. So, see, man. All right, it's a great show. I think we got a lot done. I think next week again we'll go over some director things and I think we might have a guest next week. I'm gonna try to line up a guest, and I'll leave it a surprise right now. But I'm gonna try to line something up. And
I mean, it's not going to be Kenny talking about the greatest director ever.
Maybe it will be Kenny. Maybe we hold his feet to the fire, and maybe it'll be Shaq will show up. Maybe there might be a slew. Maybe Doc will show up and talk to us about Doug. Like it could be a slew of characters that show up on the show. Who knows?
5 for the price of 1.
So we'll see. We will see. Where we at? Oh, I did forget something. I'll apologize to the man that created the Chatty House intro, Young Zell. Happy birthday today.
Yes.
Today is his birthday. So happy birthday, Young Zell. We appreciate you. We appreciate your music. We appreciate everything about you, bro. And we fully support his music. Go check out. He's got new stuff. Literally, I feel like drops every other week. And I went out to the last mini match for a little bit. Checked them out. It was pretty dope. So if you haven't checked out Young Zell, then I don't know what the hell you've been waiting for. But go check him out. And we will. I told you we would do this. At some point, we will sit down and find a way to get Young Zell in that King's Arena
Has
to
to
perform.
happen.
Like it has
Working
to
on
happen. We are going to work on this. We're going to create the movement, the Light the Beam movement. So, all right. So, see y'all next week. Peace.
Chatty House. We ballin', boy. We going up at the Chatty House. We talk about it all, bring the family out. Sub to the channel, hit the likes now. And we only going up when the lights down. Yeah, we just getting started. Ain't no party like a Chatty House party.